If you're ready to stop feeling like shit and start living your best life, then this podcast is for you. Tune in as Dr. Buzz and Daniela provide guidance, education, and the tools you need to make a positive and lasting change. Doctor of Chiropractic Medicine, Regenerative Medicine, and Functional Wellness, Dr. Buzz has 24 years of experience changing people's lives. Daniela has first-handedly taken back control of her health, and together, these dynamic hosts have unique perspectives and expert advice. Get ready to transform your mindset, take charge of your well-being, and discover the key to changing your life forever. Welcome to Stop Feeling Like Shit, where the power to change is in your hands.
Welcome back to Stop Feeling Like Shit. On today's episode, Influence of Nutrition on the Gut Microbiome. Today's special guest, Casey with Clean Eatz. We're so excited to have you today because I personally love food and nutrition. So introduce yourself and tell us, what is Clean Eatz?
Yeah, so it's good to be here today. I appreciate you guys having me. We have 3, soon to be 4 locations here in Columbus. Our biggest goal is to give people more convenient options to eat that's healthy, affordable. A lot of times people don't really know where to start when they're looking to diet or make a change in their life. So that's kind of where we come in. We have a variety of services. We do a full service cafe, bowls, salads, wraps, flatbreads, burgers, things like that. The main part of our business is a weekly prepared meal service. So we come out with a new menu of entrees every week. All of our meals are about 500 to 600 calories or less. Proper balance between carbs, fat, and protein. Those ones are made fresh for people. We also have in-store 4 freezers that have about 3,000 to 4,000 meals that people can come any day of the week and grab and go. So we're trying to fill that void of health and convenience to give people an easy option to hit their goals.
Yeah, and one thing also that I want to point out is that you guys actually do gluten-free meals, dairy-free meals.
Yeah, so we try to accommodate all types of diets. I mean, obviously everybody has different food sensitivities, so we try to accommodate the best we can. We also offer custom diets as well, to where people can kind of customize their whole diet plan, and we would build it for them as well.
Now, tell me, how'd you get started in nutrition? Like, what were you doing in your previous life, and how did you come about with Clean Eatz?
So I grew up playing baseball. My dad played professionally with the Braves, and then I played obviously in high school, played in college at Coastal Carolina, and then played 4 years in the Chicago White Sox organization. So health and fitness has always been a passion of mine, always been a big part of my life. And then about 7 years ago, I lost my dad to health issues. So that's been kind of a big part of my life, and a big reason why I got into Clean Eatz was to help people make better eating choices and give them the ability to change their lives to where they can live long, full lives and not feel like shit.
Yeah, I love that.
What's hard is for people, probably eating is probably the most important part of being healthy, which it's also one of the hardest parts of being.
Yeah,
it'd be easier if I could just work out for an hour a day and eat whatever I want. My life would be really easy. But
yeah,
like
everybody thinks that going to the gym's the hard part, but I think most people once they start going to the gym, they realize that the fork is a little bit harder to outrun.
Yeah, and probably more important, if I had to weight it, I would say, what you eat is probably 80% and your workout's 20%. It might even be less. I don't know, but
yeah. Well, that's what we tell a lot of people when they come in, is that a lot of people can see drastic changes without necessarily going to the gym, just by changing what they're eating, as long as they're moderately active and they're walking and doing different things like that. 'Cause that's what we encourage, and people can see a pretty drastic change.
I agree 100%. And it's hard, people are busy and, busy lifestyles. And I think that, most fast food is not great, and probably another category is junk, right?
Well, I don't think people make the decision, hey, I want to eat like shit. I don't want to eat good food. I think it's surely the convenience factor. People are busy. They got kids. They're running around, jobs, or making that fast food choice is the easiest, because it's just sheer convenience.
Yeah, and I like, the meals that you can take. I mean, I take mine in my car and just eat them. So a lot of people are like, but you can't heat it up. You can still eat the meal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the nice thing. Everything is cooked. So if you have to eat it cold, you can eat it cold. I mean, I'm like you. It's just, as soon as you can change your mindset to food is fuel and think less about like enjoying it or eating to satisfy cravings, it doesn't really matter. But everything's cooked, so you can eat it cold. And then the nice thing is everywhere is a microwave. Gas stations have microwaves, so if you need to stop, pop it in for 2 minutes, it's ready to go.
Yeah, that's great.
And I've noticed too with the food, we do it I think it's helped our house too, because our kids are as bad as we are. Have the potential to be. My kids are even more lazy when it comes to eating. Like to get my kid to make anything healthy, they're not going to do it. So I think for our family, having prepackaged meals in the refrigerator has really help them eat better.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes the thinking out of it. It takes the work out of it. And if you have it accessible for you, and it's as easy as just heating it up, it makes things a lot easier.
I think we were watching the kids' fast food bill.
Mm-hmm.
They were eating like Chick-fil-A like 2-3 times a day for a while, but when they go there, it's not, they're getting the fried nugget thing and Coke or whatever. So having a refrigerator full, even just for your kids, makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is you have a real good variety. Like, how many meals do you guys have? There's a huge variety.
Yeah, I mean, on our weekly meal plan, we do about 7 meals a week, and then there's a couple salads, some cauliflower pizzas, things like that. But in our freezers in store, there's usually 60, 70 plus varieties. So,
And what's the cost? So I know some people are on a budget, right? Food is very expensive these days, right? Especially, I think a lot of people have a hard time eating healthy because the cost of food is so expensive. So tell us
yeah,
about.
and that's where we try to. Obviously, the last couple of years have been challenging with the cost of food, everything going up like that. But we've tried to maintain the lowest price that we possibly can. So I mean, our meals range are between $6.50 and about $8 a meal, just
great.
depending on how many you get.
It's way cheaper than Chick-fil-A.
Way cheaper.
Or
Way-
McDonald's.
Yeah. I mean, most of our customers, after they do it for a while, they end up saying, "Hey, we spend less money doing this than we do going to the grocery," because they don't buy all the extra stuff they don't need. They don't get to Wednesday and say, "I'm tired of eating that," throw it away, and then they order Chipotle or pizza or whatever. So yeah, I mean, we try to be very cost effective. I mean, with us, you can get 10 meals for about $70.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, that's what I would say at our house too. The other thing is how much waste did we have before when you didn't have the prepackaged meals.
Yeah.
A lot of food would just go to waste.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you'd make a bunch of one thing, the kids would eat for a couple of days and say, I don't want this anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of the novelty of it's prepackaged, it's there, throw it in the microwave. I think it's
And with
huge.
it being something different, with having such a variety, it doesn't feel like you're eating the same thing. I mean, because I know if I like meal prep for myself outside of Clean Eatz, it's ground turkey and rice, it's chicken and rice, it's the same thing. So with us, we do, with it being new meals every week and always different variety, you don't necessarily feel like you're eating the same thing over and over again and then want to fall off your diet.
I mean, you can't even Chipotle. Our kid loves Chipotle, and it's like you can't even go there for under $15 anymore.
Right.
It's tough.
It's very expensive, and I hate to tell you, but I mean, if I eat their food, their chicken, I get bloated. It makes me sick. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't like talking poorly about other places, but that's the hard thing about going out to eat is some places have the healthier connotation, you don't know how much oil they're putting in their stuff. You don't know how much salt they're adding in their stuff. So that's where we try to keep things as basic. Like we don't cook with any oils. We don't add any sodium to any of our stuff. That way, if the consumer wants to add, if they want an added fat or they want to add some sodium to the meals, they can. But they get it from us in the clean version.
How about
Wow.
MSG? No MSG.
No added anything.
That's a
Yeah.
huge thing because most fast food, I think, has MSG with it, which I know we were going to talk a little bit about gut health today. And that MSG makes opens up the tight junctions in your gut, and your gut leaks, which can lead to systemic inflammation and lots of other stuff. So, which is, not only bad for adults, but even for children. So I think, it's really important to have very healthy alternatives like that are affordable.
Well, and with the gut health, I think people need to too. They can some foods people handle well, some people don't, and it's finding foods that work for you. I mean, if something's making you upset or something's not working well, I mean, avoid that food.
Yeah, and I noticed with your foods too, like it's better variety too. Because I'm like you, when I cook my stuff at home, it's going to be chicken and rice, right? But with yours, it'd be chicken and rice with some beans or some vegetable of some type, and that's really good because, back to the gut health thing, your microbiome. 90% of the cells in your body are in your microbiome, and those microbiome feed off these things called polyphenols, which are from vegetables and fruits.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy for someone like me not to eat vegetables and fruits.
Same.
So it's protein and rice. So I noticed with your meals, like there's always like either beans or vegetables or something in there, just a little bit, right? But that gives you the polyphenols to feed the microbiome.
Yeah.
It's just a much healthier alternative and something I wouldn't do on my own because.
Well, I'm the same way, and that's why I get a good balance. I eat the Clean Eatz meals when I'm at work. I typically do my own thing when I'm at home, but getting a nice balance, getting those veggies in. It's not that I don't like veggies. I just don't want to take time to cook them.
It's a hassle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're
It's a hassle.
lazy, but it is what it is. So, so I want Dr. Buzz to kind of explain to us what a good commensal bacteria is and what that looks like for our gut and how do we get those.
Yeah, so commensal bacteria basically is, kind of back to our, so when I talk about our gut, it's not your stomach, it's really from your mouth to your anus. but you have 90% of the cells of your body are in that tract, and they do lots of really important things. They control your hormonal system. 90% of the dopamine, which is your feel-good hormone, is produced in your gut. 50% of your serotonin is also there. So you have people out there, like depression's a pandemic, and a lot of people suffer with depression, and it's a real thing. If you're but that all those hormones that cause depression or lack thereof are created in your gut. So if you're eating processed foods all the time, not getting fruits, not getting vegetables, not eating healthy foods, your body won't produce dopamine and serotonin, and next thing you know, you show up with depression, and they put you on medications. So you are what you eat, and it's very important that your gut health is very, very important. And I think a lot of people bypass it, and a lot of parents bypass it too because they're busy. So their kids, they get up in the morning, have a box of cereal, some cereal. They go to school. School lunches are junk. I mean, they're not good. And then they come home and they have a snack and maybe have a decent dinner, and then they wonder why their kids are struggling in school and have ADHD or have depression. Most people aren't born with depression. It's something they get over time, and a lot of it has to do with their gut health. So, you said the term commensal bacteria. Commensal bacteria are bacteria that are in your body that don't cause harm, and that's the majority. But those commensal bacteria need polyphenols, which are fruits and vegetables and beans. That's what they eat. But if you don't eat fruits, vegetables, and beans, they starve to death. And then the bad bacteria, they love sugars and processed foods. So all of a sudden, those bad bacteria overtake the commensal, the good ones, and you have all these bad side effects.
Yeah, that's where illness and everything like comes in.
So what you eat, from a workout standpoint, we said it was 80-20, maybe more. But even if you don't work out at all, and you're eating processed foods all the time, you're not going to be healthy. It's going to affect your mental state. It's going to affect your hormones. There's a pandemic of people with messed up hormone levels, real low testosterone levels. We see it in our clinic. A lot of it's just what they're eating.
Yeah.
What I always say also is food affects the mood, right? So, I try it out. I'll go ahead. I know what it's going to do to me, but I might just eat a big fat pizza anyways. And I already know, I'm going to feel I'm going to feel like crap. And I kind of do.
We did that 2 nights ago.
Yeah. So it's like sugar. I love ice cream. I can't help myself, especially really good homemade ice cream or homemade desserts. I can't help myself. I just do it. But I do know that I'll probably get a sugar high and feel like crap. So I believe whatever we put into our mouths, it affects our mood greatly.
Well, it's amazing. Like especially if someone goes super strict for a while and you're really dialed into your diet. Like I remember a couple of years ago, I went really hardcore with the tracking and everything was on point. I was basically eating the same thing every day. And then I go on a weekend trip with friends. I'm wrecked for a week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how your body wants to reject that stuff if you've been extremely clean for a good amount of time.
I think sometimes you don't know until you eat good. Like if someone is listening to this and they just said, "Hey, I'm going to try, Clean Eatz for a week." If you just ate your meals for a week and had nothing outside of it, I think you would notice a significant difference in the way you feel. It'd be hard for you to go back.
I think somebody would lose probably 10 pounds like that if they were doing our meals consistently.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah.
And do it as a family too. I definitely recommend.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah, and that's what our biggest mantra is portion control. That's what we're about. We're not forcing chicken, rice, and broccoli down your throat every meal. Obviously, if that's what you want, we can do that. But our goal is for that first time, someone who wants to lose weight, someone who wants to get healthier, but they don't necessarily know where to start. So we try to craft dishes to where that you don't feel like you're on a diet. It's going to be balanced. Everything's weighed, so that way you know exactly what you're getting macronutrient wise.
So we'll know the calories.
Yeah, calories, carbs, fat, protein, everything like that. And we still do pasta dishes. We still do things like that. It's all wheat pasta. It's 4 ounces of it. We keep the sauce to a minimum because that's where most of the calories, most of the additive stuff is coming from that, which is why we try to keep that as down as much as possible. But I think healthy food gets a bad rap that there's not going to be flavor in it. And I think once people can kind of overcome that, they realize that they can feel a lot better and still enjoy what they're eating.
I think it's the mixture with because you'll have the little bit of carbohydrate with some vegetables with the protein. That mixture is really ideal.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people, anybody coming to that wants to lose weight, I tell them to prioritize your protein. It's gonna fill you up the most. It's gonna give you the building blocks, and it's gonna keep you full longer. So you're not reaching for the bag of chips and things like that.
Yeah, I like that your meals come like that too, because I know when I first started to get into fitness and health and try to eat well, it was hard for me because how do I proportionate my foods and how much do I eat? And I think too, it stresses people out trying to keep track of their macros.
Yeah.
It really does. And so for me, I love that the meals are the way that they come because you're like, I can just grab a meal, eat it. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
So I love that too. I know we were talking about overgrowth of bacteria, and the bad bugs feed off of sugars and gluten,
Processed
So-
foods.
processed foods. So I want you to go into details about those bad bugs and what it could do to us and our guts.
Yeah, well, the bad bugs are kind of like kind of picture. Maybe a good analogy would be a dump. They're almost like the rats in the dump, right? So when you're eating a lot of processed foods, simple sugars, you're feeding those bad bugs, and those bad bugs eat the good bugs. In its simplest terms, and when that happens, then you're not producing enough dopamine and serotonin, so you don't feel good, and that's why you feel like crap. It affects your hormonal system. You get this thing called leaky gut, and I know a lot of people have heard of leaky gut, but they don't know what it is. But leaky gut literally is, your gut has a mucosal lining that the good bacteria produce. But if the good bacteria aren't, if there's not enough of them, you don't have enough mucus. The food, in particular proteins, literally leak out of your gut into your bloodstream, and that's a problem. Because what happens is when those proteins in your bloodstream, your immune system does not recognize them. So your immune system then attacks them, causing systemic inflammation. And, you can look at people, anyone with an autoimmune condition, whether it's rheumatoid arthritis,
Hashimoto's.
scleroderma, all these things, they're all caused, the root cause is always leaky gut. Because what happens is the leaky gut in someone that has thyroid disease, when those proteins get to the thyroid, the body is attacking them there. In someone with a scleroderma, it's attacking at the dermis. Or someone with rheumatoid arthritis, it's attacking them when it gets to joints, because they do go systemic throughout the body. So, a lot of people, we treat a lot of people with autoimmune conditions here at Buckeye, and traditional medicine, the way they treat autoimmune conditions is they give you immunosuppressive drugs. So your body's attacking itself, so let's turn the immune system down. But the problem with that is that same immune system prevents cancer and prevents lots of other things. So now you're shutting that system down. So, why not get to the root cause? And although you might not be able to cure every immune condition, you can definitely decrease the symptoms significantly. We see it all the time in our functional medicine patients. Get that gut fixed, get it not leaking, and the immune system, if they don't resolve the autoimmune condition 100%, they're at least 50, 60, 70% better. And they can get off those other immunosuppressive drugs.
Yeah.
And that all kind of goes back to, but when we put someone on a functional medicine program, they can't keep eating garbage.
Right. The food's so important. That's what we tell them.
Yeah. So we can use supplements to get them along the way, but if you're not going to start eating healthy food like Clean Eatz you can't fix any of these things.
Right. And that brings me to a question for you, Casey, is what are you guys doing? I know that we did something with you not too long ago, giving back to the first responders. So what are you doing to help, bring awareness of nutrition?
Yeah. So we try to be involved as much as possible in the local community. I would still say we're 5 years in, and I would say most of Columbus still has no idea who we are, which I'd take that as a good thing, because we're just scratching the surface of where we can be. But I know we participated with you guys in feeding the first responders that we kicked off the beginning of the year. So we're trying to partner with local businesses, which we obviously appreciate you guys so much for doing that, to get our meals back out into the community, get them to our police and fire, get them to our healthcare workers, get them to our teachers, to show people, hey, there's a local company that offers this service. Obviously, you guys are big involved in the health and wellness and trying to make people feel better. So we're trying to do as much as we can to let people know, hey, there's resources in the community that you can use to change your life and to live longer, to not deal with illness, things like that.
Yeah, we treat a lot of fire and police, and I know I had tons of text messages saying thanks for the drop off because they saw our face. Yeah. So a couple of our clients had reached out to me saying you guys came by, and I was like, yeah. And then we were telling them about you. So that's awesome.
It's awesome. I think that obviously the response that we've gotten from it has been tremendous. I think the community is extremely grateful, and we're thrilled to be able to partner with you guys and to offer our communities things like that.
Now tell us where your locations are exactly.
So right now we have a location in Clintonville. It's in the Graceland Shopping Center. We got a location in Dublin and New Albany, and we're currently working on Grandview and Grove City. So we're hoping to have Grandview and Grove City opened probably sometime in May is what we're looking at.
That's great. Awesome. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about just one more thing here is, as we change our diets and our lifestyle and we start to eat healthy and we're getting to work out at the gym and things like that, I wanted Dr. Buzz to kind of explain, what do antibiotics do to our microbiome and our gut health? Because if we're doing all these things to get better, I know, we're kind of in the winter season. People are getting colds and stuff. So tell us, what do antibiotics do to our microbiome?
Yeah, antibiotics, I'm not anti-medicine anything, but I think a lot of medications are way overdone. And, in the doctor's defense, if people get sick, and usually when you're sick, it's a virus, which antibiotics don't do anything for. When you have a virus, you got to let it run its course. Or make sure you're eating good whole foods, because remember, even the virus is like sugar, so you want to eat like good foods. But you go to the doctor and they give you an antibiotic just because if they don't give you something, you'll think the doctor ripped you off. But the problem with antibiotics is they're great if you have a bacteria, which most likely if you're sick, you don't have a bacteria, you have a virus. But they also kill off your good bacteria in your gut. And we see it all the time in the clinic when we do DNA GI testing on people, and they'll have no commensal or no good bacteria. But the only way that happens is either they have an overgrowth from eating bad food all the time, or they take antibiotics every time they get sick, or a parent gives their kids antibiotics every time they get sick. So, if you have a cold, a cold or something like that, kind of let it run its course a lot of times, unless you're really sick. But, if you run out and take antibiotics every time you get sick, you're really just wiping out your microbiome. And a lot of people will say, well, I take probiotics, but, probiotics isn't the only, those are something that should be taken properly. You can't just go to Walmart or somewhere and buy the cheapest probiotic, because some of those probiotics feed the bad bugs too. So if you don't have good commensal bacteria and you have a bunch of bad ones and you take the wrong probiotic, you can making the bad bugs worse. So that's why it's important, if you have any type of GI issues or gut issues, get your gut tested, see, have you wiped it out taking antibiotics, or from eating bad food, and replace the good ones and get rid of the bad ones. But just taking a blanket, I take probiotics every day, so I'm not worried about it. That doesn't work. You have to be very scientific about this.
Yeah. So what I love the most is that, anybody that wants to get their nutrition right, or maybe they feel like they have a leaky gut, or they might have an autoimmune issue, what they could do is they could come to Buckeye, do some testing. And then what's really cool is that they'll also be able to find Casey's meals there too soon, right?
Yep.
So I think we're going to be putting those in the office, which I'm excited about, because it'll be a location to pick up. And believe it or not, Grove City is actually a very large suburb of Columbus. So we have a lot of people here. So that'll be really good. So,
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that are very health conscious here. I think it's going to be really good, but they just don't have good options.
Right. Especially in Grove City. I'm like, I look around at the options we have for food, and I'm like, I can't eat here. I can't.
Well, I think a lot of people, kind of like you said, they think they're eating healthy if they go to Chipotle or Chick-fil-A, which that's really not healthy. That's not.
I mean, there's some better.
Well, at least it's
there.
not McDonald's. At least it's not McDonald's, but
True.
there's some better options there, but still probably not falling in the technical healthy.
And it's less expensive to get meals from you guys than it is to go to any fast food.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent listening, like if you're like me, like when I was a kid, we never ate out. We didn't have the money. But these kids these days, like they eat out like at least once, twice a day. Like I see all my kids' friends. So
our kid Brock eats like 13 meals a day. I mean, he's the one that eats more than Blake. Blake is like 2 times max. He's also, these kids these days, when we were growing up, you were eating leftovers for 3 days, right? And now kids, I feel like Blake will not heat up anything. He refuses.
the meals he does.
Well, the meals he will. But what I'm saying is he will
not.
not, if we cook food, he will not heat it up.
Right,
So
I
he
get
is, so no. So he's always asking me like, are you going to drive here? Where are you going? What are you getting? And I'm like, dude, you moved out. You need to worry about your own food these days. So we had a conversation about Clean Eatz, but our kid Brock is like 13 meals in like a day. So when it comes to Clean Eatz, they're affordable. And I'm just like, eat whatever you want.
Yep.
So yeah.
Well, the nice thing is once we get the cooler here with meals, I mean, Buckeye will pretty much be a one-stop shop for your patients. They can come in and get their services with you guys that they need, and then if they need some healthy meals to get on their way out, they can take them.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So for anybody listening for Clean Eatz, he just told you where you can find them. Also, they can go online.
Yep.
Right.
Go online. You can come in store. I mean, we have a full-service cafe too. So if you are needing a quick lunch and you don't want to go through the fast food line, we typically can get you in and out in 5 to 10 minutes and get you a healthy option.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, Casey, thank you so much for being on our show today. We really appreciate your time. You're doing great stuff for our community. We love it. Come back and see us anytime.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It's fun.
Yeah, thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.